Welcome, adventurers! You've made it to the Wind Down, the live stream at the end of the Geekverse. It's a chill place to hang out here as the sun sets on another day. We're here to have a little chat, reflect on the day's successes, and prepare for a better tomorrow. So settle in with your favorite beverage this evening.
May I tempt you with a cup of chamomile?
Why, thank you, Dory. I would love a mug of tea this evening, but perhaps you would rather have some coffee, though I do recommend decaf this late in the evening. Or perhaps maybe a cold brew is more your style.
Oh, no thank you, Dory. A little red wine. For me, Isaac.
Sounds like an excellent choice, Gandalf. Whatever you want, it's yours. Could I offer you a bourbon, a martini, an old-fashioned, or something perhaps a little stronger? Ugh. Well, I mean, if that's really your thing, then okay, but I hope we can find something a bit better than that.
Romulan ale. Why, Bones, you know this is illegal.
I only use it for medicinal purposes.
All right, now we're talking. I'm Heath, and I'll be your host. Welcome to my home. Come one, come all, writers, artists, sculptors, storytellers, board gamers, streamers, dungeon masters, fans of sci-fi, fantasy, geeks of all kinds. Whatever your fandom, you have a place here. For soon it will be time for another long rest so that we can recover our hit points, our spells, and our abilities, so we'll be ready to fight on for another day tomorrow. But first, we all need a little time to reflect, because you've survived another long, perilous day of wilderness treks, dungeoneering, and random encounters, and that's worth celebrating. Let's tell the tale. It's time for the Wind Down. It will improve your life. It really will. Give it a chance. Here we go. Hello. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing today? Or tonight, rather. Has it been a good day? I hope that it has. I've got some new things to talk about. Maybe some things that happened today, but the way things are going. Maybe a new way of accountability for our day. Inner light is here. Good evening. Good evening. So, what should we do here? Well, we need to start with... Where's my list? Can we figure out what we're supposed to be doing? First of all, let's breathe, shall we? Let's breathe and have a drink. I've got tea with me tonight. In. And exhale. And in. And exhale. And now let's have a sip of tea. Mine may be too hot right now. Yep, I'll have to wait on that. Hey, Stray. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. All right. I can't believe that my information wouldn't be in this stack. It's supposed to be. I'm missing an index card. I had the wrong one sitting here. That's okay. We all need to remember... Oh, here it is. Now, trying to update what we're doing here. So, we all should all remember why we are here today. We are here in order to reflect on our day. I hope it was good for you. Celebrate successes. If you have celebrations, things to celebrate today, put it in the chat. We'll talk about it. There are basically going to be two options for the chat, I think. We can put GD in the chat for good day, GD in the chat for good day, and if you want to leave a little message about what made it so good, you can, or you could just put GD, good day. Or your other option is WIT, W-I-T, right? And that's will improve tomorrow. So there are only two options here. There's good day and will improve tomorrow. Let's get the fog going. Oh, I had a catastrophe when the fog machine took a nosedive off the bookshelf here a few minutes before the stream started. So hopefully it will connect. It may need a little more time to charge. So, GD or WIT, those are the only options. If you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. We'll be talking about them. If you didn't score everything that you were trying to do today, then how can you improve? Did you have a random encounter? Something strange happened to you today. If so, let us know. We'll talk about that too. Over here, Inner Light says, got grocery shopping done and helped my brother with some issues at his house. That's worth celebrating. I did grocery shopping as well. So remember, we can't be on all day. We've got all week. We're looking for a weekly rhythm as well. I'm trying to work that out for me. So there's probably going to be days where it goes beyond just ordinary cleaning. Like, I got to clean this house. But, you also got to go grocery shopping. I did that as well, because you got to have supplies for a productive week, because it's not just about how much work we can do in a single day or even a single week. It's about how do we sustain that? How do we come up with a way to sustain how productive we can be across many weeks, many years, and many decades even. So we're going grocery shopping, doing laundry, things like that. That's got to be part of it so you can prep yourself for another week. Sure does. Let me show you something. Bring up the Stray says, good day. Got my new jacket in the mail just in time for really cold weather in New York. Oh, New York City or New York State? I lived in Buffalo for a while, several years. Buffalo, New York. That was cold and snowy. Lots of snow. So let me bring up this extra camera. I noticed that by default, the camera goes to standard definition. So this morning I noticed it was a bit blurry because it was in standard definition. But that's probably trying to save on bandwidth for broadcast. So I'm going to go up to high definition. Let's run a test and see if that's better. But if things start getting choppy, if things start getting blurry, let me know. And then we'll go back to standard definition. So we will see. North of the city. Yeah, I've been out to New York City once. It was for a conference, and I don't even count it. It was wet. It was rainy. It was expensive. So everybody was just flying in, trying to do something for the conference, and then leaving. So I experienced a little bit of New York, but I don't even count that. I don't count that as seeing the city because of how chaotic and cold and rainy it was. We'll have to return. We'll have to go back. Inner Light says, I forgot that Turkey Day is Thursday, so we've got a few extra side items for that too. Yes, don't forget that Thanksgiving is Thursday. Great reminder to everybody. I've got family stuff on Thanksgiving, so when we're talking about planning our day and our week, well, if we're getting all of our work done during the week, we don't have to feel guilty about going to Thanksgiving and hanging out with friends and family and having a different day, because that's a holiday. Sometimes I would even feel guilty on a holiday if I wasn't doing work, if I didn't feel like I had accomplished what I was supposed to accomplish during the week. But if you do that and you hold yourself accountable, then when a holiday comes, well, hey, we're doing holidays and you don't feel bad about it. And we also have to prepare when we're thinking about how we're planning out our days. We need to prepare for that as well. I've got some things I've got to prepare to take over to the grandparents' house for Thanksgiving Day. So be sure to plan those, plan the planning activities, right? Plan the stuff you need to get done. So I had a good day. The notebook of productivity here. I didn't get up early, right? So what I did is when I was blocking out time, and I use each one of these blocks as a 25-minute chunk. So I'm trying to plan out that. You can put out blocks of time into major categories over here. And, we've got the morning grind, and then here we are at the wind down where we got to evaluate. So I want to be able to hit all of my goals. So I didn't worry about not having gotten up early, because I could say, man, I blew my day again. I didn't get up early enough. Okay, and I got to fix that for tomorrow. Got to get back on it tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday. But I didn't get up early. So instead I said, well, now what kind of day can I have from here on out? What kind of day can I have from here on out? And so I planned out the time, and then also my big rocks, my 3 big rocks on my index card here. Can I get all of it done? And I did. I did an hour and a half of core creative time. We got to talk about creative time and core creative time and different projects. I should make a note of that. Different projects to talk about. Core creative time use. but I did it right before this evening. YouTube. I spent an hour and a half working on YouTube today because that was the morning grind. Looks like I'll spend another hour on YouTube this evening. We're here doing the wind down. General business. That was 3.5 hours worth of material today. I went for my walk, my deliberate active recreation, got 3 miles in. There it is, so got that. And then I was going to clean, but I realized this isn't a flub here because I realized that going to the grocery store, I forgot I had to account for going to the grocery store. Going to the grocery store, I'm calling home management. That's that extra time, groceries, grocery shopping, laundry, the things you have to do in order to manage life from day to day, week to week, rather. General cleaning I do, can do any day, but sometimes go to the grocery store, that's home management. So I put that down here. So that to me is success. I'm going to go ahead and reward myself with a blue check mark. When I have the good day as far as time management goes, I reward myself with a check mark. If we can do better tomorrow, if we're up earlier, or I can anyway, get some work done before the morning grind. Maybe 3 hours of work done, that would be great. I have some other check boxes over here as well. I was thinking about this morning. I was like, what other kinds of things could I be hitting during the day? And of course, I've got weight over here because I personally am trying to lose weight. Gained too much weight, got to go back. You might be perfectly happy where you're at. Maybe you need to gain weight. We talked about that last night. Sometimes there are people who say, I need to gain weight. And that's all right. Then you got to plan your day and your system in order to gain weight. No problem. I was up a little bit, but that doesn't matter. I'm not worried about day-to-day variations. That's just day-to-day variations. But I've got this right here. AF. Now, this may be something you want to do. Something I'm working on. What if you want to be AF? All right, well, what does it mean to be AF? Well, here, I'm talking about alcohol-free. So I wasn't AF yesterday because I had the wine here. But tonight, I'm working on a glass of tea here again. And so I have been alcohol-free all day. This seems to be important to me, especially when trying to lose weight. I've just found that it's very difficult to lose weight if you're drinking alcohol. You can do it. If it works for you, then great. For me, I found it's kind of difficult. So as I'm trying to work on my weight loss goals, I was wondering, I needed to cut back on alcohol consumption anyway, but maybe I should just try to go alcohol free until I get to my goal weight. So I'm going to check that. I was alcohol free. CTA. I'm calling that the call to adventure. That's what we're calling it right now in the morning. If I heed the call to adventure, then I am up at 4:45 and here at the desk at 5 o'clock. Because I have noticed that for me personally, if I can get up early and I can get this done and get work done before the morning grind, then it's going to be a good day. Every day where that's happened, man, these are good days, right? This was an up early day. I wasn't checking the boxes. I had the idea to check the boxes here. So I didn't do that today. It was up too late. Inner Light says, AF is normal for me. Going out for cocktails or mimosas or whatever is an adventure for me. That's a great way to be. Great way to be. So, I don't know what kind of streak will be there for me because, I don't know, there may be some kind of party or something like that. But for me, it's easier to lose weight if I'm not drinking alcohol. So I failed at heeding the call to action. I've been putting out, when I do it, I'm putting it out on Twitter. Here, I'll put this up. If I do it, I put it out on Twitter. But another excellent place to put that is in the Discord chat. I don't want to have to post on a whole bunch of different places, but we have a place specifically for the call to adventure in the morning in the Discord. So if you're a part of the Discord and you succeed in heeding the call to adventure, getting up at the time you want to get up, doesn't have to be the time I get up. If you get up and then you attack your day the way you want it to, you have heeded the call to adventure, and you can say that's success. You choose your time. You don't have to follow my time. I'm just doing what works for me. You find out what works for you. By the way, I suppose I should throw out a Discord link. I'm not always going to throw it out, but if you are here live and you would like to participate in the Raven Keep Discord link, Here's the Discord link. I'm going to talk about Discord specifically a bit later on because I was thinking about that today and I'm really excited about it because I want to have a great community. I want to have a great community. And I think Discord may be the way to do that. There may be another option I've been thinking about, but Discord, I've really been enjoying that because that way everybody can talk to each other and support each other and help each other on their creative endeavors and whatever it is. We need opportunities to, provide feedback on each other's work and things like that. So I'm looking forward to making the Discord a very positive and constructive place in the Geekverse. So that's the Ravenkeep Discord. So celebrate in it if you've got that. And there is a place for the wind down as well. There. Now BR right here, or maybe this is MBR. Okay. That's the big rocks. So in the morning, during the morning grind, at the end of the morning grind, we take about 5 or 6 minutes to figure out what our big rocks for the day are. And you write down 3 of them. And if you were able to accomplish those 3 things, you'd look at it and go, I had a good day. Look, I did what I was supposed to do. Now, an important key here is, as I was talking about this morning, is that I had to think about mine before I went on air because you don't want to put anything that's too big here. We have the philosophy of the huge rock. We got some huge rocks that we've got to take care of. And those are our major projects. Oh, good. Fog machine is not completely out of action. Good. We've got huge projects, but we can't put huge projects here because there's only so much time. Sometimes things do take longer than you were expecting. Sometimes I have a big rock and then I'm like, oh, I thought it was going to take 2 hours and it took 6 or it took 8. Sometimes that happens. But if you've got a huge rock that's going to take a lot of time, we got to break that huge rock up into big rocks, not necessarily small rocks. Small rocks are important in some time management strategy. But right now is what I'm referring to here. Big rocks are going to make us feel good when we move them. If they're too small, we might do them but not feel like we made a lot of progress. But if we do the big rocks, we move the big rocks, then we feel like we're making progress. We're making progress toward our goal. So that's why I put update the morning messages, and I got that done. That took a while, but I'm very proud of it. We're going to have new morning messages tomorrow on the morning grind. I've got a new format for them. I think they're going to be very important, I think. And I've got a new format for them. They're much more high energy. They're upbeat. New format. I'm really proud about that. So tomorrow during the morning grind, we will experience the new morning messages. Those are ready for us. I went grocery shopping, so there's food in the house, so I'm not walking around looking for whatever and then having to go out to eat or something like that. That takes time and that takes money. So I am stocked here as far as groceries go. Got it done. And then also, I needed to plan YouTube topics, and I didn't have a definitive objective on that one. But I did spend about an hour today thinking about YouTube topics and how we should structure the morning grind and mainly the morning grind, because I want to make sure that we're rotating through topics. We need world building days, maybe world building Wednesdays, because that's a big part of what I'm trying to do here. We're going to be building worlds. We've got 2 different worlds I'm trying to build. So maybe world building Wednesdays. We need to start incorporating board games. I love doing the RPGs. We got a lot more RPGs. We've just been RPG heavy. So we're going to broaden out, and I got to think about that in advance. So there's more to do there, but at least I spent the time thinking about it and trying to plan for the future. So that's it. So I moved my big rocks today. Check that off. Now I have one more checkbox here, which I'm calling. So who else got their? Who else was? I suppose if you were GD, if you were Good Day, then you were also perhaps BR or MBR. Sounds like we're in the military here. Now, you're either GD or you're WIT, and if you are MBR, then you are probably GD. Right? Sounds like military loves acronyms. That seems like what we're going here. But we could still divide that, because sometimes you might not get through all of your big rocks. Like if one's going to take longer than you were expecting. That you had 3 of them here, but one of them you thought was a 1-hour project and turned into a 6-hour project. But you got it done, and your day otherwise went exactly like you wanted it to, or was otherwise good. Okay, so there's a reason why you could be GD, but you might not have hit MBR. So we can celebrate. If you're MBR, let us know. GD, MBR. Another acronym. WR is, this is how I've been trying to track, doing things. And that is the watch. So WR means watch rings. And so this is another one of those things. If you've got one of these watches here, this might be whatever brand it is. I have one of the iWatches. Well, I can set move goals, I can set exercise goals, and I can set stand goals. So whatever your goals are, whatever they are, I hit all of mine today. So there we go. So WR, done. Got it. This was a good day, right? Just didn't heed the call to action, so I didn't get as much work done. But tomorrow, that's going to be it. That's going to be a good day. So this might be a good time as well for you to update your watch. If you need to update your watch, whatever. Your watch goals. Kismet, we need to celebrate this right here. Kismet says, I'm a year sober last month. Had to quit smoking too. It was time. Congratulations. Wonderful. Very happy for you. Everybody, we should celebrate. Quit smoking, that could be something that's on your list. If you're trying to quit smoking, maybe instead of being alcohol free, could be smoke free or whatever it is. We'll all do it together. That's it could be you do what works for you. But if that's something that would improve your life, well, we can hold ourselves accountable here on the Wind Down for that as well and celebrate successes. So we can do that too. Congratulations. That's wonderful, Stray. Keith says, let me take down that. No, I mean, take that down. Keith says, good day. Met up with a friend I haven't seen in person for a year. Wonderful. We met in an Irish pub and I had a Guinness with lunch. Well, that does sound like a good day. That sounds like a great day. Great day. Inner Light says huge rocks and dragons sometimes too. And draft Guinness? I bet so. If you're at an Irish pub, I bet they're not going to serve you Guinness, and I bet they're going to bring that to you off draft, I think. I hope so. Had a friend who loved Guinness, drink Guinness all the time. We were like at SCA events. Lots of Guinness that was drunk. All right. Well, like I said, if you have other victories to celebrate, if you have questions or you have topics, we can address topics that you might have. We talked about some movies and things like that last night. We can talk about D&D adventures. We can talk about all that kind of thing. Whatever you have. This is best when it's interactive. But, see, where was my list of things that I was thinking about today? Right here. We should sip and breathe. Oh, yeah, we got confirmation from Keith. Definitely a draft. Now the tea's tasting good. So I was thinking about the Discord use, and I tried to get caught up in there. I can't guarantee that I'm going to be completely active all the time on Discord. I love it, but I want to make sure that got to manage that as well. That, obviously there are a lot of things going on, but I love the Discord and I want to do a lot more with it. And you got to work on, me and grab use. How are you going to use it? How can you integrate it into your day? I think it's great there be other people talking there, even if I can't be there at every moment, because I'm not going to be able to be there every moment. But it's a community and people can talk with one another and help each other out and discuss games and Dungeons and Dragons and maybe coordinate games or whatever you want to do in there. If you have suggestions for improvements for the Discord, this is all a test. This is all still getting started here. So if you have Discord suggestions, we've had lots of them. I've got some new things that I want to put into the Discord as well. I've got a list there. Got to get through, everything to really make that the best place that it can be. I realized that today, while I was out on the afternoon adventure, got in my 3 miles today, going through some of the Discord and talking and replying to people and things like that was a great time. So that was really good. That was a good use of that time. I had been using it to do text messages with other people, but I did realize as I was doing that, now this works. I can go through the Discord and talk and stuff like that. But I did just find a way to bring a screen with me on the afternoon adventure. So I don't know, looking out while you're on the afternoon adventure, while you're walking, while you're doing whatever, you can do screen time, or you can decide, hey, I'm out for a nature walk. I found some neat things today. Put those on Instagram, like in stories. Been just throwing those things there. But, we'll see. Don't want to have... it's kind of ironic that the afternoon adventure all of a sudden also became screen time. But we'll see. We'll see. And I put a place for the afternoon adventure on Discord. So if you are having an interest, if you have an idea for an afternoon adventure, something that people could do, great ways to get outside, do something neat in the afternoon, put it in there. Or if you're on an afternoon adventure, say that you're on one. What did you find? Did you do something cool? There's a space for it. Inner Light asks, what tea do you have, Heath? I'm drinking Tazo Passion. I almost brought the box in here. It's some type, but I just brought another one in case I want another one. But I think it's like sleepy time tea. I thought sleepy time tea would be a good thing to have as we wind down and prepare for bed. So it's some type of sleepy time chamomile tea or something like that. I'll look again tomorrow. So, I wanted to talk about uses of our core creative time. How is lavender or chamomile? Yeah, actually, I think it's chamomile. But yeah, one of those. How are we using our core creative time? And see, this is a problem that I have. Some people I know are writing, doing NaNoWriMo, writing, drawing. My problem is I've got a bunch of projects that have stacked up, and I've got a lot of potential things to use core creative time for. And it seems like an eternal problem is always that no matter what you want to do, you have to do something else first, right? And that seems to be the problem that I'm having. I've got major things to work on. I want to work on the RPG rules. I want to work on the worlds. One of the big things, I really think that the world building and the stories are two things that I can or will be able to bring out into the world that have the most value. But building your life so that you can actually do the core creative activities that you want to do, and live that kind of life, it's difficult. It's difficult because no matter what you want to do, it seems like there are other things you have to do first. So I want to do those things. I wanted to write, but, got feedback from people about my writing that, okay, it's not ready. The stories I was writing were not ready. And they were great critiques. They're great critiques. So I've been working on those index cards I've shown you. I've got a meeting tomorrow on the stories to go over all of that too. Brianna and I are meeting tomorrow, and then I have another one with another friend to go over all of these stories, because I don't want to start writing until I actually have the story itself down in index card forms, because I've written a lot in the past and it hasn't been what I needed. It hasn't been published. It hasn't actually crystallized into the final product. Don't want to let that happen again. Don't want to let that happen again. Want to create the final products. So that's that. Of course, so the writing is one of them. The working on the rule book. The cultists and ritual. That's another core creative time. Cultists and the ritual. I really want to get the ritual online play testing and stuff going. Let me tell you something about ritual. I don't want to launch before it's ready. I know it's been up on GameFound in that preview page, but we're still kind of growing here. But if we're going to be able to do something like crowdfund Ritual, that game, if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're here, I'm going to put the link to Ritual in the chat so that you'll know what I'm referencing. And there's also a playtest link if you would like that as well. But I don't want to start that. I don't want to start that until we know we have the people and the interest. Because if we want to get the game done, and right now I'm thinking that's a major vehicle to raise the money to do Cultist Season 3. Because in order to do Season 3, there's going to be a lot of money that has to come in and be available in order to shoot that. Because it takes about 2 weeks. We shot Season 1 and Season 2 both in 14 days of shooting. It takes 14 days of shooting. and 14 days of shooting with large numbers of cast members. Like, we've got an ensemble cast, and also all of the personnel, the crew that has to be around in order to do that. I want to be able to do all of that. So that means that we need to make sure the community is built and people are, know what we're doing in order to make that happen, if we're going to make that happen. So that's another part of the core creative time. But I've also been thinking about our community building, and I've had some ideas ever since I started the morning grind 21 or 22 days ago that I want to chase down. Sometimes you have those ideas that you're like, I need to chase that down. That's a good idea. I at least need to evaluate it. That can be core creative time too. That can be core creative time. I know Inner Light's working on stories and working on RPGs as well. I know we had people doing NaNoWriMo. But like I also said, you're here, you're welcome here, whether you are trying to do something for publication or you're trying to publish something yourself, or even if you're not, you're welcome here. If your core creative time could be working on the game, if you're the game master for your group of friends on Friday night, and you'd really like to be able to create something special for them, that could be core creative time. Whatever makes you happy, and it's what you really want to be doing with your life and with your day. That's what we're calling core creative time. There's probably another one, since I'm thinking of it in terms of creative time, but it could be core you time, or you call it core me time. You want to have core me time, having that core time where you are doing whatever it is that really makes you happy. Could be yoga. It could be yoga. You want to be sure that's incorporated into your day. Let's see. I've been thinking about the YouTube channel. Has anybody experienced the way that YouTube has been updating things, and what do they think about that? Because I noticed that, there's now tabs up above on the channel, or at the top of the channel, for both videos, which are not live. So everything that's the video is something that was pre-recorded and edited. And then there's another tab for live, and there's another tab for shorts. So it seems to me that this is an improvement, that they are trying to make sure that material that people are looking for is sorted into these categories. I like that. What do you think? I think that's a good thing. I do wish that YouTube would be more serious about playlists. Apparently there used to be a way to automatically add videos to playlists, and that's gone, because I was looking for that, because I was like, I would like to automatically add the morning grind to the morning grind playlist, or the wind down to the wind down playlist. Couldn't figure out how to do that, and it's gone. That feature's gone. I wish YouTube were more serious about playlists, because that would be a great way that people could listen to a subcategory of someone's channel. Because I've had a lot of oh, look, positive fandom. It's our welcome. I have had a good day. I hope that you had a good day too. We were just talking about all of that earlier, but I hope that you had a good day, and we can say GD for good day. So GD in the chat, RM, if you had a good day, GD for good day. Because it used to be, and I was concerned when I was trying to sort out all of my different material. It's like, how many channels do you have to run? Because you see YouTubers who are like, the clips channel and the main channel and the shorts channel. And also, and I thought this was a ridiculous thing, that, you can't have live streams on your channel because people won't like, positive fandom. Good day. Excellent. Celebrate. Good day. That you're supposed to create another channel to be like your live stream archive. So, live stream on your main channel, then download that, then take it off that main channel, then start another channel, then upload that 3 gigabyte file to your live, archive channel. I mean, that's ridiculous. Who has time for that? So is the new format working? Is this actually a better format to put a variety of different kinds of material on a single channel? I'm hoping so. Because I'm wondering, it would be nice and convenient if this just becomes the channel, even though it's got at least 2 different shows on it now. The Morning Grind is its own show, and the Wind Down is its own show. But I don't think it makes sense to have multiple YouTube channels. One specifically for the morning grind and one for the wind down. It seems like if this is what I'm producing, then it can all go here, with possible exceptions of Rabavania and Theophany stories. If playlists went really well, we could put it all here, but otherwise, might have to put those stories and audiobooks on their own channel when they come out. I don't know. We'll see. What do you think? If you have insight or thoughts on the best way to organize things like that, let me know. Any large thoughts from any of you today? If you have, please let me know. And I think I already touched on this subject, but I was talking about I want to make sure we get all of this right, because I've launched things before and it was too early and things weren't quite right. And sometimes that can lead to disaster, right? And so I don't want that to happen. I want to make sure we get where we all want to go. And so, we'll take the time and improve every day, but I want to take the time to make sure that I do it right. And we also have the issue right now that we're headed into the holidays. And what do you think? Crowdfunding around the holidays? Generally, I would not do that. My general thoughts were around Thanksgiving and around Christmas. Don't try to do a crowdfunding campaign at that. Now, some people do. Wasn't it Monster or Kingdom Death? Wasn't it Kingdom Death that launched on Black Friday? So it can be done. It can be done. But I don't know that we're going to be ready to launch Ritual on Black Friday. And I think if we miss that, then I don't want to launch it in December. I don't think. So it might actually be, it takes a long time. I really would have loved to have launched it myself before now. But might have to be after Christmas. What do you think? When are we going to be ready? And when is everybody going to be ready to try to do something like that? Inner Light says, not really. It's mostly a chill day for me, other than the big rocks I had today. Tomorrow I'll have to face a dragon again. Uh-oh. Slaying a dragon tomorrow? Good luck. Good luck. Hopefully you can make sure that all your hit points are restored tonight, and then maybe we can fortify you at the morning grind tomorrow. I'm thinking about talking about the Dungeons and Dragons playtest rules. Does anybody know anything about that? I really don't. The D&D 1 stuff, so I was going to look at that tomorrow. But let me know, is anybody involved in the playtest? What are people thinking about the new versions of Dungeons and Dragons? Inner Light says, wait until the new year. See, that's what I'm kind of thinking. I'm thinking that it's going to have to be, everything takes a long time. And if you're not ready, you're not ready. So we'll have to see. Keith says, maybe go for it after the new year. People might have some extra cash from tax returns. Possible. Yep. I don't want, the holidays are expensive. So if we can do what we're doing and improve and grow, we could have, we could be right where we want to be as far as the community and everything like that, and get the word out about the cultists some more. Still got to work on that. Maybe we'll be ready after the new year. So that's what I'm thinking. February 27th is one of the Cthulhu days. Might be a good day to launch then. Yeah, I had a calendar of those. That could be a really good idea. What day is that? I could look that up. Does anybody know off the top of their head? But I think you're right. Now, we do have the porn bot. The porn bot is here, and that means that we need to incorporate that into the stream. So I think when the porn bot comes by, we should definitely get some more fog. And the porn bot is often also a good time to remember to breathe. Thank you, porn bot, for this reminder. And also take a sip of your favorite beverage. Thank you, porn bot, for this reminder. Remember, out there, if when the porn bot came by, don't be tempted. Don't be tempted. I know some of you were tempted. Maybe. Hopefully not. But don't be tempted by the porn bot. Talk to other people, like in the Ravenkeep Discord or in the chat here. Don't be tempted by the porn bot. Does anybody know anything about D&D 1? I had joked, I wrote, I hear it's going to be backward compatible with 5th edition. And I, wrote the Journey to the Tree of Sorrows RPG, which has not been published yet. And we did that for 5th edition rules. And at one time I was kind of laughing. I was saying that, well, I don't know how long will take to get this out, but we don't want them to come up with another edition before all of a sudden before they release another edition, before that can be published. So now I was reading that the playtest is going to the end of 2023. So I don't know when that's going to be out, but I think it's interesting. So we'll see what it's about. I hear it's backwards compatible with 5th edition. There are things I like about it. There are things I don't like about 5th edition. I wonder what direction they're going to be going in. We will, I suppose, take a look at it on the morning grind. And I wonder what kind of ramifications that would have for creating Theophany or the Tales of Rabavania RPGs, or how that fits into any RPGs we might be doing as well. I see Inner Light. I see you. I see what you said here. Inner Light also says, I know that the reviews about D&D 1 are not good so far on YouTube. I've missed that. That must be, strangely, an area of YouTube that I haven't gotten into yet, or I'm just largely missing. Maybe I should, probably won't have time between now and the morning grind, but I'd be interested to know what other people are saying. But actually, probably it's better to just look at whatever the playtest material is, kind of fresh, see what we think, see what I think in the morning on the morning grind, and see what's going on. I'm curious. I wasn't in on 4th edition, and I know that was largely considered a large mistake. Did anybody here play 4th edition? I know barely anything about it. If you have other questions or topics, we can definitely talk about those. Otherwise, we may be winding down soon. That way we can all have a wonderful evening. Played it a little. I think maybe that was most of what everybody played it, just a little. I've never played Pathfinder. I never played the 1st edition of Pathfinder, but I probably should have. All of that was going on when I was out of gaming. And then I haven't gotten a chance to check out 2nd edition Pathfinder either. I haven't heard much about it, actually. I haven't heard much about Pathfinder at all. It could be that I'm just not connected to that group of people in whatever reason on social media. So I don't know if it's still going strong or what's going on. Inner Light says, I actually like the boards they made for D&D 4. I used them in old school. It was very tactical, right? It was very tactical, as I understand. Keith says, I played a few games of 4th edition. I didn't care for it, but I had a friend that owns all the books, and it's his favorite edition. Interesting. That's actually could be another thing to do on Morning Grind, because I don't know anything about it. So kind of like a retro. Oh, that's a good idea. Like just retro D&D topics. I don't have all of the editions, but some people, I'm sure a lot of people actually, who are sort of new and just know 5th edition or have just known 4th, might be surprised at what was in like Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, which is what I started with, or 3rd edition. Anybody here calculated Thaco before? Raise your hand in the chat if you have calculated Thaco, and if you even know what Thaco is. Ever had to do a Thaco calculation at the table before? I have. Seems like a crazy and counterintuitive way to do things now. But that was the start of gaming. That was the start. Maybe if we're doing game design here, we can do better than calculating Thaco. What did somebody say? Something was the Thaco of something else. Was that here on the stream? I don't remember. But going back and taking a look at AD&D and other things like that could be fun. Never did it. Never calculated Thaco. That's all right. That might even be a fun thing to play. Let people play it. If we could do one shot some way. Keith says, I do. Advanced 2nd Ed was my 1st edition. That's exactly right. I got these. It was the same case with me. I don't have my original books anymore. But a few years ago, they reprinted these, right? I got a weird, I don't know, I'm trying to get the focus. But the reprints of the rule book. So I had the black cover, But I noticed the interior is like basically identical to the book. It probably is identical. So I had to pick up these 3 books because there was a lot of gaming. I'm glad that I have them back on my shelf because there was a lot of things that, a lot of games that were played just out of these books. So I had an unfortunate large gaming purge that went on at, well, actually a couple of times, but mainly once when I was like, well, I guess I'm moving on to a professional career now and moving else, and I guess I won't be involved in anything that has to do with gaming or fantasy again. So I got rid of a whole bunch of books, sold a bunch of stuff on eBay. Some stuff I wish I still had. I've been trying to rebuy some things, but some things, you can't find or are too expensive. But had a much larger gaming library, but got rid of it. Trying to recollect. Inner Light says, I've calculated Thaco. All right. I definitely like the rising AC better. Yeah. It makes more sense. And also, I especially like the Player Option series for 2nd edition. Yes, I like Player's Option too. Yes. Let's see. Is this? Oh, this isn't. I guess I only have one hardback Player's Option. I've got Tome of Magic, but that's not actually Player's Option. But I do have. Let me see if I can do something about this. I don't really like it. There. Player's Option Combat and Tactics. This one also got a lot of use. This is really the first book that I remember. First major book that I remember. There were others, but this was the first major book that I remember that when we got it to add to our player's handbook. Because, when we started, we just had a player's handbook. I think I've talked about that on another stream because, you can go crazy. I had a friend who had all of them, but I didn't meet him until later. All the books. He had all the books. But I didn't meet him until later. So we just started with one player's handbook and then eventually got a Dungeon Master's Guide and then a monster manual and so forth. But this was the first major real expansion. And man, when we got this book, we were going crazy. Because all the different options in here, which are rather clunky and herky-jerky today, but it's got critical hits in it, with lots of critical hits to be had. This one has the unarmed combat table in it that we used quite a bit. I had a friend who loved the unarmed combat table, clunky and random, but man, he liked to use it. And in fact, he liked to demonstrate what his character was doing whenever he was going to use the unarmed attack table in combat and tactics, because he'd climb up onto the back of the sofa, and leap off of it, demonstrating the flying elbow, whatever that he was going to be doing to the orc or whatever, and then roll on the unarmed attack table. So this was a big one. Keith says, my friend got me Epes and Sorcery, Swords and Sorcery by Nicolas Dezeaux last Christmas. It was a French game based off of the original D&D and was released in English a few years ago. Huh, that's interesting. I'm going to put that on the list too to look up. Tunnels and Trolls or something like that. It's one that we could look at as well. Look up Swords and Sorcery by Nicholas. Got a retro game over here I can pull out. I did a video on this one, if I can find it in the dark. Oh, I would really love to show you the cover. Some of you might recognize it. It's it's Wizard's Quest. Has anybody played Wizard's Quest or seen the video that I did on Wizard's Quest? Oh, you've heard of that one? Maybe that's one to check out on the Morning Grind. The Wizard's Quest box. That is an old school game. That was actually, my uncle owned that one, and it ended up in my collection. But we played, it's like the fantasy version of Risk. it's fantasy Risk. It's got wizards and it's got orcs, and you're all looking for treasure across this island. We played it a lot. It was very inspirational on me, and it was actually one of the inspirations for War of Kings. Now, the board in Wizard's Quest looks very 1970s about, and so, but Seth and I both used that board, that idea of that board, as inspiration for the first side of the War of Kings board. And we found it again. We found our copy of it and went, all right, because we said, remember that game, Wizard's Quest? Maybe we need the board to be something like this. And then we used that kind of drawn from our minds. Then later we found our copy of the game and we're like, oh, so here's the board. And we looked at it and we're like, oh, yeah, the graphics there are, show their age. But the game, I think, is great. So I wish I just had easy access to grab that. But I don't. I don't see it. It's someplace. But I've got a YouTube video on it, Wizard's Quest. It's a good one. Exactly. Wizard's Quest, the war game, exactly. It's like Risk, but except for it's fantasy, and it's all tokens. Avalon Hill game, that's exactly it. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Man, hang on, just 1 second. I thought I knew exactly where it was sitting, but yeah, I still don't see it. But yes, Wizard's Quest. My uncle had a bunch of the Avalon Hill games. He had a bunch of them, and I don't know where they all are now, but they weren't all in boxes. I mean, he had a bunch of war games and stuff that were just in manila envelopes that they would send to you and you subscribed to. But there were some of them that were in boxes, and Wizard's Quest was one of them. So Wizard's Quest endures. And there was another game that was in a box that was something to do with adventurers. It was like an RPG, but it was, a board game. And it did have tiles. They were hexagonal tiles that you moved from place to place. I wonder what it was. That's one that hasn't made it to my collection. I suppose that he might still have it. But I remember looking at that game and going, oh, whoa, this looks really cool, and trying to figure it out. And it was not easy to figure out. It was an extremely complicated game. At least it was, especially to my mind as a kid. But I was like, oh, this is cool. There's something about going around on the hexagons. Basically as an adventuring party, but never figured it out. If I could find that one again, we would definitely take a look at that one. All right, I'm thinking that it's getting close to time to wind up. This has been another fantastic conversation. I've enjoyed hanging out with everybody. If you know of anybody else who would enjoy this, please let them know. That would be great. I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. We will look at D&D 1 tomorrow. So I guess we'll stay on role-playing games, maybe world building on Wednesday. I want to look at some board games. I want to look at battle lore. I want to look at like viticulture I've got down here. I've never gotten to play Kingdom Death, and I want to. I played Gloomhaven, but not nearly enough. Not nearly enough. I'd love to be able to play more Gloomhaven. And then also I've got has anybody played Twilight Imperium? I love Twilight Imperium. I played that a few times, but man, that is a heavy board game. I've heard people call that one the master's degree in board game. If you and it takes a while, but man, you'll be playing that game for 12 hours and not even notice. I'd really like to do a 3D board, a really cool 3D board. That would be one that could be a cool video to make of making things for the board games. Like that should be a special thing. Like I said, I can't do that every day. It's too much. But having a special project like that on just to be able to go out to the workshop and do that would be a cool one. Let's see here. Inner Light is asking if I have ever played the Decipher role-playing game, Lord of the Rings RPG. And yes, I have played this. And I was very active on the Decipher message boards when this came out because, this was obviously a height of Lord of the Rings mania. And this is a beautiful book. I really like it when books that are sitting at the table are evocative of the setting. That to me is a negative of the general setting books, the general systems books. Because if you're trying to play Star Wars or you're trying to play Lord of the Rings and you've got some book that's sitting on the desk, like a Fate book or a GURPS book or something like that, it can break a little bit of the feel of the table. And when you look it up and are looking up rules or things like that, if that kind of thing matters to you, it does to me a little bit. It's not, I'd rather have the better system, but it does matter to me a little bit. So this book was definitely in character at the table. It's got all of the stills from the movie. It came out after the Fellowship of the Ring, so it's got all of the Fellowship of the Ring. It uses all of the imagery and pictures, as that was the only movie that was out at the time. But I did play it. I was highly active on the board, on the Decipher boards back at that time, so discussed it quite a bit. I wish more had been done with it. I do. Some of the other books were some of the ones that I've lost because I had the Might and Magic, or the Fell Beast and Wondrous Magic, yeah. And there was even a book on like its version of combat and tactics that some people on the boards were getting to play test, but it was never released. So I don't think Decipher really cared too much about it. The card games were also really popular at the time, and I remember they were very focused on the card game for the Lord of the Rings. But it may even have been, and people speculated this, that maybe the card game rights and the RPG rights had come bundled together or something. So maybe they wanted the card game. They really wanted to focus on that. And so this was kind of an afterthought. So it really didn't get a whole lot of development. What did you think, Innerlight? Anybody else played this one? Anyone else have this one in their collection? So this was right after, this was a huge step up to me from MERP, right? There was MERP, and there was a lot of good stuff in it, but then Iron Crown Enterprises lost the license, or however that happened. And then Decipher was the company that picked it up and produced this for us. And actually, I was the first person to review this book on Amazon. So I was so excited when I got this book, I immediately went and wrote a review of it on Amazon. And I believe I was the very first reviewer to ever post a review on the Amazon page for this. So that's funny. So I wished it had done more, but to me it was a huge step up from MERP, and I was like, oh, we got to play this. But then, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. We're talking about playing the Star Wars intro game today, which has been, it's discontinued. That game's been discontinued by Fantasy Flight Games, but it still plays just as well. It still plays exactly like it was when it was brand new. And that's another important thing too. If you're looking for a new game, it doesn't always have to be a new game, as in one that is just coming out and one still supported, whatever exactly that means, by the company. It can still be a new to you game. And if it's a new to you game, that could definitely work. So, this could be a new to you game. So what did we go? We went MERP, then we went Decipher, right? Which is not really heavily known. This isn't a really well-known game. And then the next iteration was the One Ring, right? And what company owned the One Ring? I actually was not into the One Ring. It was coming out when I wasn't gaming quite as much, and I should have picked it up. But I picked up the second edition because now Free League has it, right? Who was it that originally published the One Ring RPG? And I remember speculating they lost the license or something. Something happened with Amazon announcing that they were going to do the Rings of Power. And I remember thinking, so they are pulling back the licenses in order to, redistribute and things like that in the wake of, or was it Chaosium? I don't think it was Chaosium. The Inner Light regarding this book right here says, I enjoyed it. I thought the system was a little more elegant and simpler than how they portrayed it in the book. Oh, really? Yeah, it is a rather simple system. It's got the feel, arguably, probably the One Ring is doing a better job from a mechanical perspective. replicating the Lord of the Rings, the Middle Earth feel of Middle Earth. I have not played that yet, but of course everybody's saying that, and I've been through the new One Ring stuff. This was a simpler system, but I got some evocative feelings of Middle Earth out of this. I did. The art helps. And I think that whoever was working on it did really have the right heart. I think they did. I wish they had been able to continue their work. So right, okay, so Cubicle 7, that's right. It was Cubicle 7. I'm about 95% sure that's right. May have been looked up. So Cubicle 7, I remember looking at their booth at Gen Con. That's why I'm remembering Cubicle 7 and thinking that was interesting. But then Cubicle 7 lost it, and I have no idea what happened there. And I was surprised that the One Ring itself, that game, reappeared. I thought that, well, whoever is holding that license for the RPG stuff for Middle Earth is about to give it to Wizards of the Coast. I figured with Rings of Power coming, I thought, oh, it's being withdrawn, and I bet we're about to get the Lord of the Rings role-playing game or Middle Earth role-playing game from Wizards of the Coast. But then that didn't happen, and it's Free League, so that surprised me. Cubicle 7 seems like they're doing a lot of stuff. I've got some of their games down here, and of course Free League just seems like they're just dominating, right? So Free League's doing well. So they redid the One Ring, re-released it as second edition. That's what I've got here. I really want to play that one too. So Cubicle 7 and Free League doing great stuff. I get stuff from because I did the Middle Earth videos on their game, they send me stuff as part of like their media package now. And I'd like to be able to look at more of that. I really want to look at the single player adventuring. We need to do a series on single player adventures. And because they've got some way to do single player stuff in the One Ring RPG. I'm interested to know. I would love to write for that. I did so much work. I think I've mentioned this before. I did so much work on a GURPS adaptation of Middle Earth. And I wish I could find all of my old notes, because what I have right now it was never in final form, but it was in a much more advanced form than what I had, and I would love to be able to put that out or find that or something like that. But I would love to write at least some material for Middle Earth that was like official. Maybe I should reach out to them. That would be more core creative time, though. I've got tons of things going on, but man, it would be cool to write something actually official for Middle Earth. I thought about that, like something for the Rohirrim. I like the Rohirrim, or the Swan Knights of Dol Amroth. I'm a big fan of the Swan Knights of Dol Amroth. I'm a big fan of Prince Imrahil in general. Of course, he's one of the guys who got cut. Technically, I believe there is a Prince Imrahil standing around in The Return of the King. I didn't really like his depiction, like the way that he looked, because in the books, I'm a big fan of Prince Imrahil. I used to joke that I was a member of the Prince Imrahil fan club. Really like Prince Imrahil. Okay, so Innerlight, we got some new information here. Wizards of the Coast does have a license. They're making a Magic the Gathering release based on Lord of the Rings? Really? Oh, I didn't know that. I am as casual a Magic player as you can possibly be. I am casual. In fact, I found out that the way that I build Magic decks is deliberately supposed to be the worst way you can possibly build a Magic deck. So I play Magic. I've got some Magic cards. I enjoy an extremely casual game. I played it to try to get my nephews into it, so I gave the nephews all Magic cards. If there is a release of The Lord of the Rings, I will probably investigate. That sounds interesting. So it's a little controversial because they're portraying Aragorn as a person of African descent. Oh, okay. Well, we will still... So it's probably not... Well, let's see, who do they have the license from? Do they have the license from like New Line, like for those movies, or do they have something else, right? Because you get into that as well. I think that George R.R. Martin seems to be managing that pretty well, because there is Game of Thrones that HBO is, produced, but then the Song of Ice and Fire still remains his, which is how Simon got the Song of Ice and Fire RPG, or the Song of Ice and Fire battle game, right? It says nothing about HBO, right? It is not Game of Thrones, that brand. It is not, doesn't use any of anything else. All it does is just a license, I believe, from George R.R. Martin to produce that. And I think it's pretty cool. So I have a few Middle-earth armies for the Games Workshop tabletop game. I did too. See, I got into that heavy as well. At the time, about the same time. I've still got some of the miniatures. Well, yeah, some of them are over there. I reviewed some of them. At the time, I really wanted to do more Middle-earth armies, and I still would love to do that. I'd love to paint more Middle-earth armies. But again, it's a time thing. Like, what miniatures do I need to paint? But painting some more Lord of the Rings miniatures would be fun. So maybe they have it from the Tolkien estate. Yeah, see, that's probably all of this licensing is all really complex, and I think that a lot of things that are older are even more complex, because before people really understood what all the licensing could mean and how much money could be there, I know a lot of that got messed up. Somebody else owns, the stuff to do more Lord of the Rings TV or something like that now. So it surprises me that the Tolkien estate is giving out licenses. But although Christopher Tolkien doesn't run it anymore. Yeah, right. Okay, that's exactly where I was going. After Christopher Tolkien died, the estate holders began mixing things up a bit. Well, we'll just see how all that goes. Yeah, I suppose I will always remain a Tolkien purist, right? The books are very special to me, but looks like there's too much money involved to not do other movies and other TV shows and things like that. But might just have to remain a Tolkien purist, kind of like maybe how I feel about Star Wars. I'm a big original trilogy fan, and the kinds of things that I imagined after as a result of the original trilogy. But I don't follow everything that comes next. All right. Well, looking at the time, we want to be up. We want to heed the call to adventure in the morning in Discord or out there on Twitter. So I think I'm going to wrap things up. We're going to end with Good Night Sword, like we always do. I think it's a great way to wind down the evening. I look forward to seeing everybody on Discord, and then tomorrow for the morning grind,
Good Night Sword.
We'll be talking about D&D.
Written by E.H. Robinson. Illustrated by Adam M. Botsford. Narrated by Brianna De Silva. Part of the Tales of Rabavania. Good Night Sword. Good Night Gourd. Good night, guards who keep us all safe. Good night, dagger. And the iron hauberk. Good night, cheese. Good night, keys. Good night, elm. And good night, helm. Good night, squire. And good night, liar. Good night, shield. And good night to the lance only the gallant wield. Good night, banner. And good night, jewel. Good night, gruel. Good night, knights. And good night to the old soldier who says time's been cruel. Good night, maiden fair, whose favor I bear. Good night, rabbits everywhere.